Hey everybody, ShadowRock here with another update on Card-en-Ciel, or Card-en-Ciel? Seriously, they changed the pronunciation between these two trailers. Pick one, Inti, pick one. But I guess I'll just go with the new one in that case. Before we dive into this virtual world, some quick house cleaning. Card-en-Ciel is a roguelite card battling RPG that was announced by Inti Creates a while ago. And the whole reason why we started covering it is that it looks like it had a, just a little bit of Battle Network inspiration. Not too much. That being the case, I've already done a deep dive into the gameplay systems based on the initial reveal trailer, so I do recommend checking out that analysis first before coming into this video, just so that you're all caught up on the same page. Even though this new trailer is titled the gameplay reveal, nothing here changes what I said back in the old video. The battle system is still a turn-based card game played out on a Battle Network style grid. So, we're all fine and dandy there so far. As far as the battle system is concerned, the new stuff comes in the form of the newly revealed character cards that come from the fictional in-game worlds that are introduced in Card-en-Ciel. Like Shinobu from Galgun, the cats from Umbra Claw, out later this month, and Kieran from Azure Striker Gunvolt. Wait a darn tootin' minute, those are Inti Creates characters, what the heck? That's right, it's not just the fictional worlds, there's Inti Creates worlds in here too. Heck, there's GB himself as a boss fight. And that's because, according to Inti, the boss at the end of each of the dungeon that's based on the individual game worlds are going to be the hero or heroine of each game. So with Gunvolt being a boss here, that pretty much confirms that there is going to be an Azure Striker Gunvolt themed dungeon. Heck, there's a Luminous Avenger X dungeon shown on the list as well. And likely more Inti Creates themed dungeons where that came from. There's even dialogue between Neon, the protagonist, and GV himself. Looks like Sean Chiplock is back as GV, along with all the other English voice actors, because every piece of dialogue here looks to be fully voiced, even in battle, for better or worse. Inti says that the characters will even talk to each other while idle, so who knows, maybe we'll get some GV and Copen banter, because we sure haven't had that in a while. Thanks, Gunvolt 3. Well, now that we know that the previously announced Muse mechanic actually does involve Lumen from Gunvolt, complete with her reincarnation song that you can hear in the trailer, it makes me question that claim of 50 vocal tracks included in the game. Is that 50 all new tracks? Or does that include some of the old favorites like Reincarnation? Honestly, we probably won't even know until release. Oh yeah, by the way, there is a release date. It's October 24th, 2024, which is actually sooner than I thought. I thought it was going to be a 2025 game when it was initially revealed, I won't lie. So hey, look at that, we're actually going to be playing this game by the end of this year. And for those that didn't hear last time, it's coming to Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Steam, aka PC. And there is no price at this time still. With that out of the way now, let's take a step back and talk about the story details and new gameplay features that have been revealed along with this trailer. And when I say story details, I really mean a more fleshed out plot synopsis. So last time we already met Neon, the self-proclaimed gaming chair detective. He is a talented hacker who solves crimes by putting on that VR headset and full diving into the VR worlds. One day, the full dive VR game Rust Tactics starts having characters from other video games starting to appear, complete with wills of their own. So ANSI, a developer with Helios Interactive, makers of Rust Tactics, reaches out to Neon to help solve the mystery of what the heck is going on here. And she will also support Neon in his dungeon crawling adventures by basically acting as a navigator and analyzing enemy data to create cards. And that's all she wrote. You got the basic setup, and that's all you really need for a roguelite game. Now let's full dive into the new gameplay details. I'm not going to spend much time going over what we already know, you can watch the last video for that. But we did get some new information on the general flow of the dungeons. As we pointed out last time, The dungeon maps look once again Battle Network inspired, down to the isometric camera angle. So the funny new detail is that in each dungeon, you can actually just run past all the enemies and go straight to the boss if you really want to, which sounds like a speedrunner's dream. However, you probably should fight some of the enemies along the way, because for each enemy defeated, you gain a new card to add to your deck. You will want to do this because every time you enter a normal dungeon, your deck will be reset, so you aren't necessarily going to be using the same strategies every time. It is a roguelite game after all. The good news, however, is that you aren't going to permanently lose your cards that you collect forever, because every card that you collect throughout your gameplay gets added to your card library, and Inti claims that you can use cards from your collection as trump cards during critical moments, and later on you will also unlock special grand battle dungeons that will allow you to use any card that you've collected while challenging them. It's nice to know that your gameplay counts for something at least. So then on a basic level, the game flow is you're going to grind off these regular enemies until you build a powerful enough deck where you feel comfortable to tackle the boss. And as I said before, the boss is essentially going to be the protagonist of the game that the dungeon is based on. There are over 10 dungeons in all, each with their own unique encounters, cards to collect, uses, and twists that tie into each of the game worlds. Once you clear a dungeon for the first time, Inti Creates is going to show up like, "Yo dog, I heard you like difficulty settings, so we gave you 10 difficulties in your difficulty settings so you can play 10 times harder while showing off your hardcore skills." In addition to powering up enemies, the reason why there's so many dang difficulties is because each one adds new rules that may even end up benefiting you in taking on these tougher challenges, which sounds like it could add a fair bit of replayability for the dungeon. And hey, remember in the last video when I pointed out that the product description listed 1 to 2 players, and I brought up the idea of PvP battles? Welp, that's been confirmed, baby. We do indeed have real-time PvP battles, as they call it. Although they didn't mention online PvP, so the jury's still out on that. What is confirmed to be online is that there are going to be daily dungeon challenges where your rank will be posted on the online leaderboards to compare with other players. That's right, there's going to be a ranking system as well. A big factor of your score is determined by the number of turns that you take in a dungeon, so you are definitely encouraged to go fast. Again, Inti just loves catering to the speedrunners. Other things that contribute to your score, as seen in the trailer, include killed enemies and floors cleared. You gain experience points at the end of a dungeon, though it's not clear yet what leveling up actually does for you, other than maybe increasing your base stats. It looks like the level cap is 100 though. Going back to the ranking, it looks like your rank is determined by these metal looking icons, which are displayed next to the difficulty options, and it looks like you gain clear bonuses for doing well or fulfilling certain conditions, bonuses like decode tokens, whatever that does. And lastly, when it comes to the battle system itself, aside from different terminologies and effects being thrown around in the card descriptions, in case I haven't mentioned it yet, it looks like the break mechanic is going to be pretty big when dealing with larger enemies like bosses. The enemies will have their attack strength and their defense displayed underneath them, and by using cards that break, you will deal break damage to that defense number, and once it reaches 0, the enemy will be stunned so that you can just lay waste to them. And you can definitely see an example of that at the end of the trailer, as they actually combine multiple muses together to create this crazy combo where you're just spamming cards to victory. That about wraps up the new info on Card-en-Ciel for now. Well, wait, there's more. It looks like we're not only getting one game on October 24th, but 2 games. You see, back at April Fool's of this year, Inti Creates announced this project called Dynamo Flamefrit. And they tried to play it off as an April Fool's joke, but the reality is, yes, it's a real game. And this game is actually one of the fictional IPs that are introduced within Card-en-Ciel. Well, I guess it's not so fictional anymore. So, included in the Japanese physical release of Card-en-Ciel, you're gonna get the Dynamo Flamefrit game. Inti describes it as a 2D action game modeled after the styles of robot anime popular in the 90s, as well as the fantasy genre. You adventure through a fantasy world in top-down view as a young man summoned from another world, Yuto Hino, and when you encounter a boss battle, gameplay will switch to first-person view, where you take control of Flamefrit, his robot companion, for some pretty sick-looking mech battles. Can't go wrong with those. There's not too much else to say about this game because we don't know a lot, but yeah, it looks like a top-down, kind of Zelda-esque hack and slash, combined with some mech boss battles. Hey, I'm here for it. It's a shame that it looks like it's going to be exclusive to the Japanese physical release of Card-en-Ciel. Hopefully we hear news on a Western physical release of this, but honestly Flamefrit deserves to be offered as a digital release as well, kind of similar to how they released Gunvolt 1 along with Mighty Gunvolt. It could have easily been a pre-order bonus or something. And although I like collecting physical and all, I gotta say I don't like this trend of companies locking content behind physical releases, such as when the Blaster Master Zero trilogy came out in Japan and they locked the voice acting update behind that physical release. And to this day, I'm pretty sure it's not available digitally, which sucks. So yeah, that's going down. Hopefully us Westerners actually see a release for Flamefrit in our own region at some point. And before we go, and other Inti Creates news, it actually does happen to be the 10th anniversary of Azure Striker Gunvolt this year, and although we're probably not getting a new mainline game to coincide with that, because Takuya Aizu said that the series is on a bit of a break, there is some stuff happening, like the aforementioned crossover in Card-en-Ciel. They're doing a Inti Creates Gold Archive collection, which bundles Mighty Gunvolt, Mighty Gunvolt Burst, and a brand spanking new side game featuring Lola that they released back in April. It's called PuzzMiX. It's a merging puzzler where you're combining Lola pods to form bigger ones without crossing the line at the top. Obviously you can aim for a high score to get on the online leaderboards, and hey, Lola gets a new song this year as well thanks to this game. Though on the topic of songs, it does feel odd not to include Gunvolt records into this Gold Archive collection, but whatever I guess. What's nice is these games were originally digital only, and besides some limited run releases, this will be the first time by Inti Creates themselves that they're releasing these 3 games physically. Apparently Mighty Gunvolt is going to be an all new port for the Nintendo Switch, as before it was 3DS and Steam exclusive, and the collection will come with all DLC included, which is very nice. The catch is, it's once again Japan exclusive, but hey, if you have the means to import, it is coming out August 20th for 3,278 Japanese yen, or for the limited edition, 8,778 Japanese yen. The limited edition comes with the Mighty Gunvolt Burst official soundtrack, the PuzzMiX official soundtrack, and an acrylic art stand featuring Lola and the cast of Mighty Gunvolt Burst. That's all for today's Inti Creates roundup. Be sure to stay tuned to ShadowRockZX for more things Inti Creates, Card-en-Ciel, and of course, Mega Man. Until the next one, rock on and have yourselves a wonderful time zone.